Alrighty. Hello, and welcome into another episode of the Full Send Half Mast podcast here tonight. Looks like we had Jared in the chat. Jersey Bear. Yeet yeet. Nice to see you, Jared. Thanks for tuning in, man. Tonight, January 21st, we're going to be talking about the Chili Bowl this weekend. We'll do a recap of the Chili Bowl's week. Maybe our thoughts and opinions on what happened this weekend at the Chili Bowl Expo Center. Maybe a little bit of the watch party recap that I talked about this week, as well as the A feature and pull shuffles had a little bit of controversy as well. Also, we want to go over a little bit of news here, some of the silly season wise, as well as the updated Bush Light Clash format at Bowman's Gray. We want to talk about that with you guys here tonight. We also had some VP IMSA races this weekend at the Roar before the 24. We did have a mediocre race and a really good race, so we're going to talk about that with you guys here tonight. And then this weekend, it is the weekend of all weekends. It kicks off the IMSA Series season. It is the famous 1/3 of the American Motorsports Triple Crown. It is the Rolex 24. We'll give you our favorites, our dark horses, and what to expect going into this year's Rolex 24 at Daytona. But first off, I'm here with Tom tonight on another fantastic podcast Tuesday. Tom, how you doing, man?
Another week closer to IndyCar.
Yes, I think we just said that off stream too. I was like, yeah, we were talking off stream. We're like, man, we're really excited about IndyCar. And then we both wouldn't agree. It's not NASCAR though. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of optimism or hope for NASCAR. I'm really disheartened with the sport.
I'm just not excited,
not
man.
Not excited at all.
Just not excited.
Like none of this offseason with NASCAR, none of the news is really just like jumped out at me as like, man, that's must see. I gotta see that, And it's like, and we talked about it. We ranted last week about the new rule changes for a good little minute there. So if you guys want to check out last week's podcast with regards to NASCAR, there you go. But we'll talk about the Busch Light Clash format here in a minute with you guys tonight. First off, thoughts on Justin Allgaier, Daytona 500 with Junior Motorsports making their first ever Cup Series start as a team, man.
He could have chosen a better driver at least.
You're defending champion in the Xfinity Series?
I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, man. I expect 28th.
28th? That's good. So you think they'll make the show then? That's a good prediction. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like they're gonna find.
It's Junior.
Way. Yeah,
it's Junior and Hendrick.
A way to make him get
in. He's gonna get in.
Yeah, I agree. I think the entry list went over like 30 or almost like 42, 43 at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's still an opportunity to get knocked out. I'm kind of excited about this just for the fact of the Traveler Whiskey. Those Traveler Whiskey commercials are actually pretty fire, dude. Like, I kind of like them, dude. They're old school. Like, they remind me of the old Jack Daniels commercials. I hope we have some good freaking publicity and some cool commercials come out of this whole ordeal.
I'm actually kind of jealous because, a big time, I consider that a big time sponsor. I mean, you're coming out on a junior car for the first ever Daytona 500 run with Junior's name as a team owner. Could you imagine, maybe some of the concessions that they might have outside of the track? Just, it's all whiskey. That'd be awesome. I'd be like, I'd set up tent right there.
I'm surprised they didn't do a 2-race deal and do like the Daytona and then run the April Talladega back to back.
Maybe.
I mean, it could happen. Who knows? I think that'd be dope. Especially if they had like some Traveler Whiskey promotions at Dega, that would make that time even better.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they could do. I think you're pretty much spot on there. I think if they do make the show, I think they'll be back of the pack. It's going to be a tough effort, I think. But good to see new sponsor, new team making an attempt at the Daytona 500. Also, we got another announcement in the Cup Series with Ricker Racing. Cody Ware back full-time racing for the number 51 team or 51 car there at Rick Ware Racing. Everything in his past has been resolved, and he's back Cup racing full-time in 2025.
Is he the one who beat his wife?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Just curious.
Yeah. I think his brother got in trouble for the same thing and maybe like drug possession, and then he got in trouble for beating his wife.
Sounds like a family of winners.
Yeah, it's a great family of winners.
Well, you think that they could, translate that into a Cup team, but apparently not.
Yeah, I mean, dude, to be honest with this Rick Ware Racing team, they spent so much of their resources on IMSA and with IndyCar. Like, how are they ever going to be successful at Cup? Like Rick Ware Racing is like a wannabe Roger Penske. That's how I look at him, dude. They are a want to be Roger freaking Penske. They run the same power plants in IndyCar that Roger runs. They run the same power plants in Cup
Well,
Series that Roger runs. They run the same power plants in IMSA.
devil's advocate here. What about Trackhouse? Because they're in MotoGP. They're now in Daytona 24. They're in NASCAR. I mean,
I mean, I get, yeah,
and
I see your point. I see your point.
and they're throwing money around. You know, they're getting some big time sponsors. Bush Beer. You know what? Trackhouse might as well be the next Orange County Housewives of NASCAR.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
relate that more to
They
like
got a
a
driver
Ganassi.
lineup
I
that
don't
big.
know.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, they
Ganassi
have
will.
great drivers though. I mean, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
they
They
do.
go and pick
Well,
up.
they've had success. Let's put
Yeah,
let's make that known. They've had success. All right. Maybe
We're-
a bad devil's advocate here, but
we ain't talking about Rick Ware. They've had success. That's funny. Oh man. All right, so we'll see what Cody Ware can do in 2025. All he has to do is win a race, and he's in the playoffs. Chances of that happening are very slim, but still an opportunity, still a possibility. Alrighty. Next, Cletus McFarlane is going to make an attempt in ARCA at the ARCA 200 at Daytona. I think this is more, like you said, I think it's more publicity than anything, dude. I don't know. I don't see any success coming out of this. We already know in the ARCA series when we go to any race, there's only like
Yeah.
5 cars that are competitive, and it's even more evident when you go to a super speedway. It's like 4 cars that are competitive. I just don't see
I
it.
know I have this friend who's a big Cletus McFarlane fan, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, he's got a great ride. He's gonna go to Daytona. I think he's gonna run pretty good. It's been like a dream of his to do this." And I'm like, "Hold on, all right." The Daytona ARCA race is ARCA Brake Central. I
Yeah.
mean, they coined the term ARCA brake because nobody can hit their freaking brakes when they start wrecking. What makes you think he's gonna survive any of that? I mean, honestly, it's the biggest crapshoot probably in the history of man to go out there and try to win this race. I'm just saying, he's got a Rhett Jones car, right? So he's got pretty
Not bad
decent equipment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, just hold your horses a little bit, okay? If you're actually gonna watch this race, you'll find out. All right, like it's.
Oh man, I think you hit the nail right on the head with the hammer, man. I mean, the survivability factor alone is gonna be tough, and I mean, we saw it last year with so many damn ARCA break moments in super speedways last year. So, especially that Big Willie moment. You never know, man. Big
Oh
Willie's in the
man,
race. Watch out.
yeah, that's right.
Oh man, I don't know. Have you seen an entry list for the ARCA race at Daytona yet? I have not seen a single one. I don't think we'll probably see one for a couple more weeks. To
No,
be
you
honest.
probably won't. You probably won't.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see that. That'll be a fun race. Last year's ARCA race at Daytona was extremely fun. I think we had like a good 30-minute talking point on that race
Yeah.
last year after that on the podcast. So we'll see how that goes. Josh Bewicki, back with DGM in the Xfinity Series in 2025. I'm excited. Saw him at the Chili Bowl this weekend. Didn't run any really exceptional, but what did you expect? So I'm excited for him.
Yeah,
I mean,
cool.
what we've seen Weatherman have success over there last year at times until he had that big crash at the end of the year. Josh Williams kind of got put on the map with DGM. I don't know. We'll see what Blicky can do returning back with DGM in 2025, running points. I mean, we know how stout the Xfinity series is, especially this year, dude, with the driver talent lineup this year. I mean, it'd be pretty crazy to put him as a dark horse fringe playoff contender, but I can see it happening. Who knows? I mean,
I
he's a
agree.
great road racer, so see if he can sneak
Yeah.
one out. All right, this is the one that you posted earlier, Tom, and I just had to bring it up in this podcast because this kind of freaking irritates me a little bit, man. But you posted in the Discord that they're gonna take off rookie stripes for rookies in the cup in NASCAR. I mean, it didn't specify was Xfinity Cup, truck, or whatever. It just said in all series of NASCAR, saying it was the top echelon. We don't need to distinguish rookies anymore. You know how dumb this is, man? Like Like, that is, like, tradition in NASCAR, and it has been that way forever to have the rookie stripes. It's kind of like a badge of honor, after your rookie year, you're able to pull the stripes off, and now you're a sophomore. Like, I don't know, man. There's just something about the rookie stripes and tradition that just taking those off just seems like the biggest Big Daddy NASCAR moment ever.
Yeah. I, I'm not surprised at this point. I'm just not. I'm just not. Look, they could tell me that, the official mascot of NASCAR is a pig tomorrow, and I just wouldn't even be surprised.
and
You know,
and
that could
the
be
thing
Joe
is,
Biden's left toe, and I
yeah.
wouldn't even bat a left eye. You
That's the funny thing too. It sounds like a joke, but it's actually could be reality. We
it's
just have
real.
to wait for tomorrow's headlines. I'm bummed out about it, man. I'm really bummed out. I don't like that news, man. I think that the rookie stripes are a necessity in NASCAR. It's just kind of a part of the tradition and the heritage. And as further and further we get away from that, it just subtle things like that, man. Just like the pole award where they take the checker or the picture with the 21 means 21 flag, like if they got rid of that,
Oh
it
yeah,
wouldn't mean the same anymore. Like what is it? It's the Bush pole qualifying. It's the Coors qualifying. Like
yeah.
I don't know. There's just the little subtle things that kind of irritate me. And this one kind of struck me the wrong way, so figured we'd bring it up here tonight on the podcast. Alrighty. I believe that'll cover the news, or at least the news that was interesting this week that we wanted to cover. And I do want to bring up the Busch Light Clash format at Bowman's Gray. This will be happening on February 1st and 2nd. They're going to do a qualifying session, placing the cars basically 1 through 40, however many show up. Then they're going to split all of the cars that qualified into 4 different heat races, 25 laps each. Only green flag laps count. And then they'll take the top 5 from each 4 of the heat races to get you a field of 20. And then the rest of the drivers move into an LCQ, which will be the next day on Sunday, and they'll take the top 2 in the LCQ, and then they will take the highest in owners point or drivers points for 2024 that didn't qualify already. So very similar to what we've seen the last few years. Green flag laps only count 200 laps. Bowman Gray Clash race 75 lap on the LCQ. Sounds just like an absolute freaking destruction menace. Terrible idea, dude. I'm not excited for this race one bit. I think I was telling you right off stream before we started. I said the only thing I might actually watch in this entire thing is going to be that LCQ and try and watch like Reki and Hocevar, whoever the hell doesn't qualify into the heat races in the LCQ, just run through half the field to try and make the main. Other than that, what else is worth watching? To be honest with
Nothing.
you,
Nothing.
it's so
Literally
dumb.
nothing.
We're just taking so many steps backwards. Like I understand, like Bowman Gray, it's like this prestigious historic track in NASCAR, but it's like, come on, dude. Like, why are we, why are, why are we doing it, man? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Whatever. What are you gonna do? But that is the format for this year's Busch Light Clash. That will be on February 1st and 2nd. So we're not that far away, to be honest with you. We're only about 10, 11 days away. So that'll be the kickoff to the NASCAR season, non-points race, kind of an all-star event. We'll see how that one works out. We'll talk about it more next week when we preview that race for you guys here on this channel. All right, Tom. I think it's time we recap. I say let's start with the Chili Bowl first, and we'll get into the IMSA Roar before the 24, before we preview the Rolex 24 this weekend. So I do want to talk about the Chili Bowl a little bit. I enjoyed the hell out of this event. I was glued to my TV every single night of the Chili Bowl. I watched basically every single lap besides the ones of the podcast day that we were on stream here, but we still caught the finish to that. Which Tuesday night was a freaking awesome race, dude. Tom, that prelim night, watching the underdogs come through have great prelim nights. Buddy Kofa didn't have a good prelim night. Watching Brennan Crouch and Landon Brooks battle for that win on prelim night was freaking awesome. Other than that, Wednesday was a little bit of your favorites: Emerson Axum, Dason Pursley. Thursday night, we saw Christopher Bell, Tanner Thorson, and I believe it was Bernal all battling for the win. That was an incredible race. I mean, but Larson and Thorson throwing sliders, pass each other back and forth. And then Bell to kind of make a mistake there at the end, and to see Bernal still that final transfer spot into the A main there on the prelim night was pretty cool to watch. At that point, we had pretty much eliminated Corey Day on Wednesday, Buddy Kofoid, and Christopher Bell all on Wednesday because they didn't get the top two in the prelim nights. Really was going to be impossible with 40 lap feature for them to win from the back of the field. Same with Friday night, Logan Seavey. I just have to bring this up. What an absolute god drive he had on Friday. I mean, there was at one point in that prelim night where he had faded all the way back to like fifth late in that race. Like Darren Pittman had gotten by him. Tyler Courtney got by him. There's a bunch of guys that were passing him or close to passing. And he just put that. I mean, I've never seen a drive like that. I mean, Logan Seavey's just so good at finding grip when nobody else can. Being able to switch lanes and change lanes or change grooves, find the grip before anybody else can. And he was able to put on an absolute display, taking that win away from Gavin Miller. Where it all gets interesting, we did see a couple different cool super runs in the morning. I did that watch party all day with you guys. There was a few interesting super runs. So about 4 or 5 soups being passed through in the morning. That was really fun to watch. Not a lot of drama like last year with the super runs. We had maybe a helmet throw every once in a while, or a guy punching somebody in his seat every once in a while. We had a bunch of different weird things. Middle fingers getting thrown. I mean, it was an interesting Chili Bowl. A lot of those happen in prelim nights as well. But I do want to talk about the damn pole shuffle. Obviously, the pole shuffle goes to your top 10, which are your top 2 from all 5 prelim nights. Dason Persley drew the 10 pill. Larson drew the 1 pill. So the worst Larson could start was second. Best Persley could start was first or 10th. Persley goes out and just absolutely starts eliminating people one at a time. Eliminates Brenham Crouch, eliminates Golubic, eliminates Bernal, eliminates goodness gracious, Emerson Axum, Gavin Miller. I mean, he just starts knocking them all off one after another through the pole shuffle with the lap times. And he's about to beat or knock off Landon Brooks to move up to P2, where he's going to have a 1v1 against Larson for the pole. And he runs out of gas. So they disallow his entire qualifying run. He ends up having to start the race third when he would have won the pole. So Larson not only draws the 1 bit, doesn't have to go against his best competition of Dason Persley in pole shuffle. And then on prelim night, got so lucky with the way that the track changed at the end of that race for him to win that. I mean, this week, Tom, literally just felt like the freaking golden. I felt like I was watching Jimmy Johnson in his prime. I felt like I was watching Sebastian Vettel in his prime. I felt like I was watching Scott Dixon in his prime. Like where they're great drivers, right? Really good freaking drivers. But to have everything just freaking lay into place all week for Larson, it just irritates the hell out of me, dude. If you guys watched the watch party, I lost my mind there a little bit, especially in the main event. Larson gets off to an early late. I think Larson led every single lap in this race, to be honest with you. Landon Brooks, Stacey Persley battle for second, third, pretty much the whole race. That was your trying to decide which one of those two were going to contend with Larson. But I swear to God, dude, how many freaking times did Larson just damn near wreck that damn race car, man? That is talk about the golden horseshoe luckiest MF there is in all of racing, dude. I mean, at one point he runs into lap traffic, gets airborne, barely keeps it from stalling. I mean, saves the lead, survives multiple dive bombs from Persley, gets up into the wall at one point, damn near goes upside down, somehow saves it. Persley passes him, but the caution comes out because he luckily tore the banner off after hitting the wall. So we would have lost the lead, but him hitting the wall saved him from losing the lead. Like, just time after time after time, this guy just had every break in the world. Freaking Larson, man, wins his 3rd Chili Bowl. Unbelievable. I know me and you had CV coming in, but I mean, starting P4 was already a deficit in itself. I mean, you've got to start basically top 4 to have a chance to win. He did start in the top 4, but I mean, his car he just didn't seem like he had the best car all week. It really looked like Thorson might have. It really looked like Larson, Persley. Those were some of your fastest guys all week. And that's kind of what we saw towards the end. Golubic on Monday night still finished second, even though Larson beat him there. He probably should have won Monday night. I mean, there's just so many things that went Larson's way. And I was personally pulling for Dason Persley so bad to win this race. I mean, after what we saw last year with the D main all the way to the feature, I mean, what an absolute display Dason Persley put on there. I was really pulling for Dason Persley to win this race. I'm so devastated he didn't get the job done, Tom. I mean, he gave him a hell of an effort, dude. That's all I'm gonna say. He gave him one hell of an effort. Comes up one spot short. Um, I think I feel like I'm back to saying what I said last year about Buddy Kofoid. I was like, man, Buddy Kofoid's gonna win a Chili Bowl every once or here sooner than later, But we're just in the Logan
Yeah.
Seavey era, and now here I am this year saying I'm gonna say the same thing. Dason Person's gonna win a Chili Bowl soon, but I think right now we're just in the whatever era, the Kyle Larson era, the Hung Money era. I don't know what to call this era, but damn, what a great Chili Bowl, man. What a fun Chili Bowl. Landon Brooks deserves a big shout out. He did get passed by Golubic at the end to take him off the podium, but he ran top 3 the whole freaking race until the last 2 laps. So big shout out to him as a Chili Bowl rookie. Wins his prelim night, runs top 3 the whole time. I mean, unbelievable underdog story. I was pulling for him to win that race too there, Tom, at the end. I was like, I want Persley or Brooks to win this race. I don't want Larson. Screw Larson, the luckiest MFer of all time. I mean, I don't know, man. That's just how I feel about the Chili Bowl. I don't know if there's anything you want to add or anything you enjoyed, but that's how I feel about this weekend, man.
Yeah, I think the only thing that really needs to be taken away here is truly, and really not talking any crap. I'm just the luck that Larson had throughout just the entire week. I mean, like you said, just everything went his way. I mean, he was climbing walls and it still went his way. A caution would be flown, somebody else is wrecking, or whatever. To me, it was like watching the Jimmy Johnson era again, or the Sebastian Vettel era, Max Verstappen era. It was crazy to watch that real time again.
Yeah. I mean, it was unbelievable. Oh man, I guess I kind of brushed over it, but the running out of fuel with Dason Persley, I know when I said, or when we saw that happen or whatever, and we were talking about it on Saturday, Tom, you're like, how the hell do you mess that up? And I was like, well, it kind of makes sense because he was 10th in the pole shuffle. Like, did he really think his odds of climbing all the way to the pole were really realistic? And they probably put enough fuel in it for the balance of the race car. And now the more I think about it, man, like,
you gotta shoot for that P1, brother.
You gotta know. You're like, exactly. There, you just said it perfectly. You gotta shoot for the pole, man. Like, put enough fuel in it where if you do end up making it towards the end of the full shuffle, at least give yourself a chance. Like, I'm with you 100%. Yeah. I mean, does he make it as far if he puts more fuel in it? Does it change the balance of the race car enough where he doesn't climb through the pole shuffle? I don't know. I mean, that's really hard to determine, but I'm with you, man. Why the hell did they not put enough fuel in that race car? I mean, imagine if he would have won the pole shuffle. He was 4 to 5 tenths faster than everybody he went against in pole shuffle. Everybody went against.
Here's what we do know. George, the traveling gas man, went to the Chili Bowl.
Oh, I forgot about that. I should play that. All right. Yeah, I'm going to play that real quick.
Hello, Mr. George.
Oh man. Oh man. I'm glad you brought that up, Tom. That has been sitting on my dang thing forever, and we haven't had a chance to talk about it. There it is. George, the traveling gas man, has made his first appearance in 2024 or 2025. I love it, man. Actually, we had 2 this weekend, and we'll talk about that here in a second as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. All right, yeah, that'll be our recap for the Chili Bowl. Congratulations, Larson. I guess we'll give it up to him, but luckiest dude ever. Dason Persley, fantastic job. Dude, big shout outs though to Edwards and Flood, both making their first ever Chili Bowl A main starts in their careers. They've been trying for 12, 14, 15 years for both of these guys. For them to finally get an A main Chili Bowl is awesome. I look back at Edwards' run on Prelim Friday. Didn't have a good heat race. Somehow in his qualifier, he drove from 9th to the lead, which set him up in a main event starting 3rd. And all he had to do was basically just maintain a top 5 position at the end of the race, and he was going to be in a B main. And that's exactly what he did. He gets an OB main, and then he stays within the top 7. He's in the A main. It's like how one race, that one qualifier where carnage happened in front of him. Guys were wrecking. He went from 9th to 1st, put him in position to make his first ever A main Chili Bowl. What a freaking story that was. Just stories like that were just really cool to see. So, and also shout out to Santino Ferrucci. His Chili Bowl was a wild roller coaster. He was out in hot laps on Friday. He made not even one lap, and he totaled that race car. They somehow put it back together. I think he got put into like a O main or something on Saturday, and didn't really work out for him. But shout out to old Santina Ferrucci. All right, that's enough for the Chili Bowl. I'm excited for next year. We'll get back around it to next year. But it's time we talk about a little bit of the sports car racing we saw this weekend with the VP Racing Fuel Series, the Roar before the 24. Race 1. This is the race that really didn't have much going on. Palmer and Woolridge end up on the initial start at a P3, end up getting restart violations by changing lanes before the start finish line. Again, we've seen this in so many motorsports over the last couple of years. I mean, it happens all the time. We get 2 10-second penalties there. The battle for the GSX lead was pretty intense early between Clemens and Porto. That was an awesome race there. Winner in race 1 for the LMP3 classes, Catalano ends up winning there. Adelson wins GTX or GTDX. And then let's talk about another George, the traveling gas man appearance here in the beginning of the 2025 season. How the hell did they mess that up with Clements leading in in GSX, coming through NASCAR 3 and 4, coming to the checkered, and he's out of gas in a 45-minute race. Granted, how do you mess that up, man?
Who knows? Honestly.
I think it's so funny, dude. I can't believe it. And he had like a 20-second lead. Now, we're not talking about like a battle. Like, he had built a freaking lead, man. Like, he was in cruise control to the victory, and he runs out of gas. I mean,
freaking victory,
dude. I mean, I still can't believe that. What else are the takeaways from race number 1? I didn't catch the full race to its extent. I watched a little bit of the end. And
I did. I mean, look, the coolest part was that Catalano guy. I mean, he just dominated. I mean, I think, well, at the end there, I mean, he who was in second place? Who was that guy's name?
Palmer. Both of the guys
Palmer,
in the Duquesnes.
thank you.
Yeah, the Duquesne.
Yeah.
LMP3s, yeah.
You know, he's what, 12 years older than Catalano? And it just like couldn't catch the dude. It was impressive, actually. It was just impressive. I just thought it was very impressive. With a performance like that, I mean, put Catalano on your roadmap. Honestly.
Oh, I 100% agree. I already got him pegged for the championship. I mean, he sweeps Daytona.
Oh, yeah.
We only have, another 8 more rounds, I think, this year for the VP series. I mean, if he could continue with this strength that he's showed thus far, I mean, we saw it with Agukani last year. Agukani came out at Daytona, fired on all cylinders in the LMP3 class, and he ended up going on to win the championship. Fantastic season from him. I think we see the same here out of Catalano. We also saw that with Luca Mars last year in GSX. They did add a GTD class, a GT3 class, so they got GT3s, GT4s, and LMP3s racing against each other this year, which is a little different than last year when we just had the GT4s and LMP3s. So we saw it with Luca Mars last year in the GT4 stuff at the GSX, being able to win most races, take the championship there. We might be seeing that with Adelson. He takes the win here, and then Porto, which, I mean, spoiler alert, all 3 of these guys that won in race 1 also won in race 2. So we'll get that out of the way. But let's talk about this rain race, Tom. The absolute theatrics. I mean, I think you should lead us off because this race was freaking intense, man.
I mean, from the beginning, it was intense. You know, they went out, right? The wet track. Race director declared wet race, so everybody started on rain tires. But even from like the beginning of the race, we saw craziness. Going down into turn 1 with the LMP3s, they went through pretty clean. But what really, I think it was like lap 2 or 3 is when it really started to get a little crazy. We saw the LMP3, I think it was the 67. I can't
Yeah,
remember
it
who it
was
was,
I think
or
I have his name written down. It was goodness gracious. I think I wrote this. Oh,
oh, I actually
Thames.
skipped a part. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Catalino, oh yeah, that's right. Had a bad restart. He actually, down into International 1, had a really bad corner there. I think he went into the grass. Is that right?
Mhm.
He actually
Yeah.
saved the car, which was pretty incredible. With wet grass and everything else that goes along with it. But um, I just think I don't know. Here's the deal. When it comes to rain races, it's much watch TV.
Mhm.
You got to watch it. We saw cars piling into International 1, which was pretty freaking crazy. It just looked like some cars were on skates going down into International 1. And people skating through the grass, somehow saving their cars, people not getting so lucky in saving their cars. Um, in the end, though, this is where I'm getting with Catalino being on your roadmaps. This guy comes back to win the race in LMP3 in a completely dominant fashion. Palmer made a mistake on the last lap. It didn't matter anyways. He was still going to win the race, but in the end, I think it was like 13 seconds he won the race by or something like that. I don't know. It's something close to that. Anyways, unbelievable what this guy did during the Daytona weekend. That Catalino guy really impressed me. Yeah, he made a couple mistakes, but that don't give up attitude really served him well, and it serves anybody well in a situation like that. The one thing I do want to point out though is Ford had a little success.
Mhm.
We
Yes.
saw it. They
Yes.
finished P2. I hope to God that they can capitalize on that with the Daytona 24. But I just thought that was a funny excerpt there for the race because it was pretty funny. See the Ford and P2.
This was kind of surprising because watching the duration of this race, it looked like a Ferrari, it looked like a Porsche
Yeah.
type race. I mean, we saw at going through the Le Mans chicane on the back straightaway. We saw both Porsches battle for 1 and 2, go side by side through there through the rain. I mean, basically nearly door banging. That was pretty entertaining. We saw one of
Yeah.
the Supras go running off the surface. I think in International 2 at one point. That was pretty entertaining, like Tom was alluding to. But I think the best part about this race is this guy Palmer with the absolute no give up freaking attitude as well. Like we like we
Yeah.
says about with Catalano being it reminds me a lot of like a Connor Zilic. Like Connor Zilic did this in an MX5 Cup races 2 years ago at Daytona, and it really put him on the map. I think that Catalano kind of had his coming out party here at Daytona. But his main competition was the other Duquesne car, which the Duquesne cars absolutely obliterated the freaking Ligiers, man.
Yeah, they
They
obliterated
stood
them.
no freaking chance against the against the Duquesnes, the Ligiers. But Catalano made, or I mean, Palmer made so many mistakes. Like Catalino makes a mistake, Palmer gets the lead, he makes a mistake. And then I think later in the race, Palmer makes another mistake. He's back to like P4. He's got to drive his way through the Ligiers again. Gets back up to P2. He's challenging Catalano. He makes a mistake again. I mean, just and then gets back, put back to like third or fourth again. Drives himself back up to P. I mean, the absolute roller coaster of a race behind the wheel there for Palmer had to have been just an absolute thrill ride to absolute like catastrophic proportions. I mean, to stay in the fight like he did, I have a lot of respect for that guy, man. That was impressive to watch. But great runs. I mean, Porto, I mean, dominant there in GSX. I mean, the Supras are looking pretty
Yeah.
good.
Supers were looking freaking great, man. They were
Yes.
fast, really fast. At one point, first and second, the two Toyotas, they were 5 seconds ahead of third place. It was like they were they were in a completely different class than all the other cars. It was crazy, actually.
Yeah, I 100%. And it kind of alluding to like where I'm gonna go with some of my predictions here later, with the Michelin Pilot Challenge series. But I'm really confident Super this year, man. Whatever package they put together this year with their GT4 program, dude, it's looking good. And I think this year's Michelin Pilot Challenge. I love Michelin Pilot Challenge. I watch just about every damn race because they're so freaking good. It's just so much randomness that goes on in them that you can never predict them. But Supra last year was pedestrian at best with their GT4 program. I'm super excited to see what they can do. this year with that program, especially going into Daytona. If you remember last year, what was it? Bubba Wallace, Corey Heim, and who was the other one? I can't remember. There was John Hunter, meet Nemechek. All three of them
No,
ran
wasn't
that Super last
no
year in the
no.
Pilot Challenge
It
race.
was Gibbs.
Was it
Wasn't it? I'm
Gibbs?
pretty sure it was
It
Gibbs.
might have been all
I'm
four
pretty
of
sure.
them. I'm pretty yeah. You might be
Yeah.
right. It might have been all four of them. I know Heim was in there, and I know Hunter Nemechek was. And I'm pretty yeah. I think you're right. I think it was Gibbs, Nemechek, Bubba, and Heim. So yeah, you. I think you're correct. I might be misremembering that, but yeah, that they performed awful at the 4-hour race last
Yeah,
year.
they did.
It was
They
so
did terrible.
bad, man. That car was an absolute dump truck, dude. But it looks like they're taking strides forward. It was impressive to see what they were able to do with these VP races this weekend. I'll just reiterate it once again. Catalano wins LMP3 off to a season, sweeps the weekend as well in GTD-X, and then Porto ends up sweeping GSX this week as well. So I'm excited for the VP Challenge Series this year. When I heard that they were bringing in the GT3 cars to compete with the GT4s and the LMP3s, I was like, man, this is gonna be fun this year, dude. And I think the first race was a little dull, but once we got the rain race, I think it was really exciting, and I'm excited to see where the season progresses with the VP Challenge Series. Alrighty, I think it's time to let's make our Rolex 24 predictions. There's really, unless there's anything else you wanted to talk about or anything else we missed from this weekend's races or any other news, but I'm kind of ready to jump into some
Let's get it.
Rolex 24 picks, man. Oh, alrighty. I think the best way to start, let's start with the 4-hour race, the Michelin Pilot Endurance Challenge. This will be on Friday. This upcoming Friday. It's gonna be super exciting. I mean, this race last year, we just kind of mentioned a little bit with the Super last year with Nemechek, Heim, the whole list of guys there that struggled. But what a race that was last year. We had so many different changing conditions, different leaders. I think the biggest takeaway here, though, is last year the Hyundai team was really freaking good in TCR, and also the Mercedes with Windward. And so when it goes to my picks, my favorite in Grand Sport, I'm gonna go back to back with the Windward team with Ellis and Ward. These dudes are just fantastic drivers, and they're really good around Daytona. Not only did they win Grand Sport last year with the GT4, they also took the GT3 to victory lane in the Rolex. So I think they're coming back with a ton of momentum, a ton of confidence. They've got the experience and the cohesiveness as a team over the last 2 years racing together. I think it's a deadly combination. I don't really know. That's what's got me confused here, Tom. Watching the VP races this weekend, we saw the Supra really fast. But other than that, we didn't see a lot out of the GT4 cars. The other manufacturers really kind of stepping up. It looked like it might be Supra's year to kind of dominate. So it's gonna be interesting to see how good Mercedes can do off the kickoff of this GT4 season with the Grand Sport class. So I'll take them to go back to back at this race in particular here in 2025. And then for my dark horse, I have to do it, man. I'm going with the Supra. I'm gonna pick the Supra as my dark horse. With what I saw this weekend, there's just no reason why I don't think the Supra is gonna be a top 5 contender by the end of this race. Will they be able to win it? Driver, I think I've got some of the drivers lined up in this car, which to me is fascinating. I'm not sure expectations. I have no idea. But I'm excited to see what the Supra team could do. I'm pulling up the driver lineup here now. Let me see. We got Rob Walker and David Hodge. I have no idea who these guys are. I couldn't tell you. So we're gonna figure it out this weekend. Why not? Why not?
They're the
Supra,
next
man?
Zillage, baby.
Who knows? Yeah, they could be, man. We've seen some more surprises, man. Like we talked about it with the Chili Bowl earlier. We saw surprises there that we didn't expect. We talked about the VP race this weekend. We got some new names kind of surfacing to the front of the motorsports world. With the speed of the Supra, putting all their eggs in this basket with some unknown, unproven drivers, I'm excited to see what they can do this week in GT4. So that's my dark horse in Grand Sport. I'll let you jump over to your Grand Sport prediction.
Okay, I'm going opposite of Jay. I think Super is going to run away with this, or Toyota. And so with that being said, I'm taking the number 12 Rafa Supra. And I'm kind of basing my performance based off of the race that we just talked about, VP race. So with that being said, look, we saw some good successes with Ford. I think Ford could possibly look. I've been always told the off season dictates your on season. So if you prepare to win a championship in the off season, well, by God, you're going to have some good chances to win a championship in the on season. All right, and from what we know so far, um, Ford's been doing something. Ford's been doing something. So, I'm going to go with Ford. I'm going to go with the number 13 MMR Ford. And this is mostly hopefuls, but again, we don't know what most of these guys did in the offseason. We saw some great progress with the VP series, so hopefully we can see some good progress with the Mission Pilot.
I like those picks. I like those picks a lot. I think that the number 12 Super, I think you're right, man. I think they're going to be one of the favorites to win this weekend. It'll be fun to see exactly what they could do, especially with the competition that they're going to have with, um, obviously, with Mercedes, obviously with Aston Martin. So it's going to be fun. I also like the quote that you brought up. I mean, I think that's t-shirt quality quote right there. We're going to have to bring that one up or post that on the Discord somewhere. To win in the on-season, or I don't even know how you said it, man. That was just mint. That was perfect. That was t-shirt stuff right there.
Yeah, championships are won in the off season.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. I love it. There's nothing more true than motorsports with that entire quote right there. With the development, getting the right drivers, getting the right crew members, getting the right engineers. I mean, everything comes into play. Getting the right sponsors. That's an amazing quote. We're gonna have to make that a t-shirt, man. Championships are won in the off season. I love it. Alrighty, now it's time to make our picks for TCR, and this was an easy pick for me. This team had such a freaking amazing run last year in this race, particularly with Wickens and I think Gottsacker was his teammate at the time. Ran super fantastic, then had some issues late. Weren't able to win the race, but they still found a way to win in at the end of the day with a team car. I think the Hyundais are just that good. I mean, I think they're the best TCR cars on the grid. You could say what you will about what we saw towards the end of the year with Audi having some really good success. The Hondas have just been so mid. I mean, I don't really. I mean, there's really no other other team to pick here. I think than this Audi with Herta Autosport. So, with that being said, I'm gonna take the number 98 with Filippi and also with Gottsacker. I'm just a huge fan of Gottsacker. I think he's a freaking amazing driver. But with that being said, the team car could do just as good. They've got Wilkins and Morris. So I think it's going to come out of the Hyundai, Brian Herta and Andretti Autosport team this weekend. I just don't think the other manufacturers have caught up to him, and the driver experience and talent that they have behind the wheel. I think it's just overwhelming. They are losing Robert Wickens. That is a big thing to note here. How does the performance drop off? We saw last year, pre-injury with Robert Wickens, that team was unstoppable. Robert Wickens goes out with that injury for a few weeks. That team kind of looked human again. Then he comes back, and that team looks freaking unstoppable by the end of the year. Can they maybe kind of rekindle some of that end of season last year rejuvenates to kind of take into this 2024 or 2025 season? When it comes to my dark horse, I took this team most weeks last year as my dark horse, man. I just love it, man. Baker Racing, brothers Dean and Sam Baker, and they bring in James Vance out of Toronto, Canada. All Canadian drivers on the grid here for this team, driving that Audi RS3 LMS TCR machine. My expectations are very low, but I think it's awesome, man. Seeing a team of Canadians and an Audi, two brothers, family team, Liquid Molly, paint scheme. The car is going to look freaking amazing. I would like to see him have a good run this weekend.
All right. For TCR, I'm just going to go with the 33 Hyundai. Obviously, Hyundai had a phenomenal season last year. Had some good runs. So I'm just going to go for them. And then for my dark horse, this is kind of interesting to me. A Cupra Leon.
That's a good
I don't know what
pick.
the heck that is.
That is a good pick. I should have picked that one as my dark horse, too, now that you say it, dude. That is a great freaking pick, dude.
Blind pick, baby. Blind pick. I have no idea who the heck this is. I don't even know what a Cupra is.
I have no idea.
Cupra Leon. I don't know either, but it sounds kind of cool. So I chose him.
They're going to be complete fish out of the water, man. Like, the amount of development that the Hyundais, the Hondas, and the Audis have over them at to start off as a new manufacturer. I mean, this is gonna be, I mean, historic if they could actually finish this race. Like, not let alone like getting a good performance or result, but like just finishing this race alone on reliability. It's a 4-hour race. This is the second longest Michelin Pilot Challenge Series race of the year. Most races are 2 hours. This one's a 4-hour race. So they're double distance of a normal race. This is going to be a freaking enduro, man. This is going to be crazy. I like that pick, Tom. That is an A-class pick, man. I saw that earlier on the entry list. I should have picked him, man. I really should have. So I'm glad that you're going to show him some love here on this podcast. It's going to be fun to watch. Friday is going to be so much fun. If you remember last year, this race had a little bit of rain. Weather at Daytona is always spotty. You never know if you're going to get rain. You never know if you're going to get dry. And I think if we get another rain race like last year, this could be an instant classic, man. I am super excited for this race. I'm going to be glued to my TV watching this race. All the layers and everything that's going to evolve through this race. I enjoyed the hell out of watching this race last year. I mean, this race was can't miss TV. I mean, with the amount of carnage we saw, the lead changes, the differential with especially when they're talking about Hyundai having the issues that they had late in that race, kind of taking them out of contention, then their team car kind of rose to the front. I mean, this race is going to be freaking awesome. I just cannot express to you guys enough how excited I am about this BMW Michelin Pilot Challenge endurance race at Daytona. Alrighty, I think it's time, Tom. We gave our poll picks last week. Poll qualifying, I believe, is on Thursday this week, or maybe Thursday, because today's Tuesday. It'll be on Thursday is poll qualifying. If you guys want to get refreshed on our poll picks, go refer to last week's podcast. We sat down and intensively went over who our poll picks were for the Rolex 24. We did that a week in advance because we wanted to focus this week on who is going to win this coveted Triple Crown event in motorsports of North America, and that is the Rolex 24. I think we should just kick it right off here, Tom. Let's go straight into it with GTP, the premier headlining class. New faces, new faces, new places, new rides, new manufacturers changing. So we have we previewed this in our IMSA preview. Wayne Taylor Cadillac moving over to Cadillac away from Acura. We have the return this year of Meyer Shank, which is going to be super exciting. No more Ganassi on the grid this year. That's going to be interesting. To note, though, BMW was the fastest in the Roar before the 24 in times. Can that translate after the awful year that they had in 2024? We'll find out. But when it comes to picks, Tom, I think it's time. I'm going to take the number 10, Wayne Taylor Cadillac team. Ricky Taylor, Philippe Albuquerque, Will Stevens, Brendan Hartley. I mean, this is just an amazing freaking lineup. GM has gone full in with this team. Cadillac's gone full in with this team. They retain Ricky Taylor. They retain Philippe Albuquerque, the core of this team. And then they bring in two of their heavy hitter hot shoes out of the World Endurance Championship, which we previewed a couple weeks ago as well. I think this team is on a roll. And I think we're going to see big things out of Wayne Taylor this year. And if you guys remember my bold prediction this year, Wayne Taylor Racing with this number 10 team was going to win the Constructors and Drivers Championship in 2025. And I think it all starts with their championship campaign right here this weekend at the Rolex 25. We saw how fast Cadillac was last year with Action Express and Ganassi until they both had their ways to lose the race. Specifically with the Whelen Cadillac of the 23, 58, 36 infamous moment that we all remember. I don't think we're going to have any more issues this year, and I think Cadillac's going to get some redemption, and they're going to win this year's Rolex 24. My dark horse, and I think this was my dark horse pick pretty much all year last year. This team is on an absolute trending trajectory of freaking greatness. They're in a Porsche. The 963 has been unbelievable, and whether it's IMSA winning the Constructors and Drivers Championship last year with Penske, and as well as them doing great things in the World Endurance Championship with Jota, who has now moved over to Cadillac, as well as winning the Constructors Championship winning the Drivers Championship in the World Endurance Championship. I think that this Proton team is going to take that step forward this year. They're going to get a lot more support now that they're not supporting both Jota and World Endurance Championship as well as Penske. I think they're going to have just these two premier teams in the 963s, and I think Proton's going to take that step forward. I think Proton, remember last year, Tom, they ran top 5 pretty much the whole freaking race at the Rolex, dude.
The whole freaking race, brother.
Man. And that car was freaking mint and beautiful, and I'm excited to see it hit the track again this year. Great drivers with Johnny coming back. Valtier is moving into this ride. Nico Pino is jumping into this ride. I think this team is on an upward trajectory, and I'm excited to see what they can do this weekend at the Rolex 24. That's my dark horse pick.
Those are some great freaking picks. Um, but I'm not wavering on my favorite. It's still the 93 Acura. I think this team is just destined for greatness. I mean, look at the driver lineup.
I
The
know.
24 is. I mean, it's freaking star studded, brother. There's seriously, they got one of the best lineups I think ever. Um, so I'm really excited for that 93 to hit the track. We'll see though. But yeah, I'm really excited. Those BMWs look freaking strong, though. Might be a problem, especially with Kevin Magnussen behind the wheel. Everybody remembers him getting a race ban, but you know what? I'm not saying it. I'm not saying nothing. But anyways, for my dark horse, I'm going with the number 5 Proton. How can you not root on the Proton? This thing is so freaking cool. They had a great run last year. Let's see it again this year.
I love it, man. I love it, dude. I'm excited for Proton. I like your pick with that Meyer Shank, or yeah, Meyer Shank. Last time
Not
they
my shit,
ran the Rolex 24, they actually won the race until we know what came afterward with that whole ordeal. So hopefully they can win this one
Uh,
without an asterisk this year. I like that pick. I like the driver lineup too. Alex Pillow, Ringer, Van der Zandt, Nick Yellowly, and then
yeah.
Onta. I think that's going to be a great team. All right, I think it's time we move on to LMP2, which I think is going to be the most entertaining class of the entire series. Well, I don't know. It's a toss-up between GTD Pro and LMP2. I think both of these are going to be freaking thrilling battles all the way to the bitter end. I think we're going to see just about every single car on the grid in LMP2 lead this race at some stage or some phase. I think it's going to be a freaking roller coaster, and you're not going to know who's going to win that race until that checker flag actually flies over that car. I think it's going to be that wild this year. But with that being said, I picked them to win the poll. I'm a huge fan of this driver lineup. They won the Rolex 2 years ago. Did not win it last year. I think they're going to rebound. I'm going with CrowdStrike. I love George Kurtz. I like that they brought in Jacobson. They got Toby Sowery and Colton Herta in the lineup. I think this is just. I think with Colton Herta alone being probably one of the top 5. Well, no, 100% guaranteed. He's one of the top 5 drivers in IndyCar right now. Every time he jumps behind the wheel of one of these LMP2s, he's just super fast. We saw it last year when he jumped in the GTP, was super fast. I think it translates to the LMP2s just as much this year. I'm excited to see what they could do. And a lot of the reason I went with CrowdStrike over a lot of these other teams is the fact that the 18 team does not bring back Zilich this year. Or the 11 team, they do bring back Hunter McElroy. I think they're going to be competitive. I mean, there's just so many heavy hitting teams here in this lineup, Tom. It's so hard to pick a winner. But if I have to narrow it down to one, I'm going to go with CrowdStrike. When it comes to my dark horse, I know it's strange putting the words Pratt Miller and dark horse in the same sentence, but they really are. They really are. I mean, we
Yeah, they
don't
are.
know what we're going to get out of them at all. I mean, this is their maiden voyage. I got Pietro Fittipaldi, James Rowe, Callum Ilott, Chris Cumming. Great driver lineup. These other teams just have the leg up with the experience. They're not starting fresh. They've all ran last year, battled last year multiple times. And I just think that this Pratt Miller team is your dark horse. And I could see this going very well for them, and I could see it going very poorly for them. This race is a strategy race. I mean, it's survivability, especially through the nighttime hours. Putting yourself up front of the field and being able to maintain your strategy throughout the race, counting the race backwards with all your pit strategies, the right drivers at the right time being in the car, the different battles we're going to see throughout with different drivers, different stints. It's going to be a freaking thrill ride of epic proportion. And I think Pratt Miller is an underdog because it's our biggest unknown out of the entire LMP2 class this year. So that's why I'm going to go take him as my dark horse. And I could see them easily winning and kicking off 2025 in a freaking spectacular fashion with a win here at the Rolex, Tom.
All right. LMP2, look, CrowdStrike is a great choice, but I truly think if it's anybody that can really take it to CrowdStrike, just on pure pace alone, I think the only other one probably is United Autosport. I think that they're going to be really quick. I think they're going to be quick all year. I think CrowdStrike's going to be quick all year too. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with at every racetrack that they go to. So, honestly, we'll see. I honestly don't know who's better. I mean, this is not a beefing moment at all. I just don't know. You chose CrowdStrike. I'll choose United. That's just how we're going to roll with that one. So, and then same thing with my dark horse. It's Pratt Miller, baby. Pratt Miller does an incredibly amazing job in any form of motorsport that they go into. So I'm really excited for this LMP3 program or LMP2 program, sorry, that they're going into. I just think that, um, I think that they're going to have some really big successes here. I just think it's meant for greatness, really.
Heck yeah, man. I'm excited, dude. This could be so much fun watching Pratt Miller and their maiden voyage here in LMP2. Alrighty. Next, like I said, this is a toss-up between LMP2 and this class in particular, the GTD Pro class. I've looked through the driver lineups. I've looked through the cars, the returning drivers, the new drivers. I mean, this class is just freaking loaded, man. I mean, there is just freaking all-star, superstar drivers all throughout every driver lineup. I mean, this race is going to be extremely competitive, hard to pick. Um, but there's just one team in particular that just sticks out to me like a rose in a bed of thorns, man. And that team right now we talked about it at the beginning. I mean, this is just like the coolest team. I mean, what Justin Marks and Pitbull have done to kind of reinvigorate motorsports in North America, even with the GP stuff. I just love what they're doing. And this lineup, dude, is probably the most star-studded A-class lineup I could ever picture. Ben Keating, world-class driver, champion at the IMSA levels multiple times, multiple race winners, many marquee wins. Connor Zilisch, probably the next best racing driver in the world right now. I mean, the sky is the ceiling for this guy. I mean, and beyond. And then Scott McLaughlin, personal favorite of mine. I'm a huge Scott McLaughlin fan. I love watching him in IndyCar. I think he's an exceptional talent. This is going to be a lot more familiar with him, especially jumping into these GT3 cars. And then obviously Shane Van Gisbergen. I mean, you can't even say enough about Shane Van Gisbergen. I mean, he's an amazing talent.
Right.
This team wins. I just don't see a world unless we have complete an absolute car failure like we saw last year with the Corvettes. I just don't see it. I think Corvette's going to be on another level in this race. I could see them going 1 through 3 on the podium with the two main teams with Pratt Miller and then obviously with the Trackhouse effort this weekend. So I'm going to take them. I mean, but that's just taking nothing away from any of the other teams. There's so many other good teams. Like we talked about BMW in the offseason, Aston Martin in the offseason. Going to be great teams throughout this year. Mercedes, are they able to continue with their efforts? The Porsche 911. I mean, there's just so many good freaking teams. They're defending champions at AO Racing. I mean, how can I not pick them? But I mean, it's just so many great picks. But I'm going to go Trackhouse Racing. And then when it comes to my dark horse, make sure I get this correct. Yeah. I am going to go with the Ford Multimatic team. There's nothing else I could say. I'm just going to go with it. Number 64 with Mike Rockenfeller and Sebastian Prelu. Prelu was part of that AO Racing team last year. He moves over to the Ford Multimatic team this year. Maybe that'll rejuvenate this team. Maybe they got that engineering book for dummies. Or maybe that some pictures like Tom was going to send it for Christmas. Whatever it takes. Let's see if we can will this forward into some success here in 2025.
Okay. So, what are we doing pro?
Yes, GTD
Yeah,
Pro.
Sorry. Okay. I'm going with the homer here. I'm probably going to stick with these guys till the end until they do something stupid. But I'm going with the number 14, Vassar Sullivan. For the race here. I don't know. Hopefully, they had a good start to last year. During the race, they just got caught up in some crap. But we'll see. We'll see. It's a new year, so we'll see. They weren't that strong. I mean, they were kind of strong last year, but not championship contending for sure. So yeah. I really don't have much else to say about that. I really don't. But then my dark horse, I think it's a dark horse, Jay, but it's my favorite as well. I'm just going with the homer because I'm going to go with them every race. But my dark horse, I'm going with the 91 Trackhouse. Come on. Everything you said. If they're not on your radar for this weekend, are you a racing fan? That's crazy to me.
There's just not enough good things you could say about this Trackhouse effort, man. I am super excited.
Yeah.
This is probably the most excited I've been for a GTD race in a long time. I mean, this is going to be so much fun. And I like your pick with Vassar Sullivan. They're elevating Aaron Telitz up from the GTD, their number 12 car, up to the pro car. So we'll see how they can run this week with Ben Barnicoat behind the wheel as well in that 14. So it should be a great race with the GTD Pro. All right, GTD now. This is where it gets interesting. I literally I threw a dart at a dartboard here with this one, and I hope it sticks. But this team won GTD last year. I picked them to win the GT4 race like they did last year. Go back to back there. I think they go back to back in the Rolex and win the GT3 race. I'm gonna go with the number 57 windward. Mercedes, Russell, Ward, Dejounte, Auer. Uh, I throwing a dart at a dartboard. Maybe trends work. Maybe they go back to back in both the pilot and the Rolex. That'd be pretty insane to see that happen there with them. And then for my dark horse, I'm sticking with the whole theme of the night. I'm going with the Ford Multimatic team, Gradient Racing, with Joey Hand behind the wheel of the number 66, and that's purely the reason why I'm taking him as my dark horse. Ford and Joey Hand, man.
All right. All right. My favorite for GTD, it's the 12 of Vassie Soli. Yes. Um, Jack Hawksworth got demoted. Aaron Tillets to the front, but I still believe in Jack Hawksworth. I don't understand the whys of it all, but yeah. And then my dark horse, you got to do it. It's the 66 Ford. I mean, come on. Look, that Ford is either going to be the meme of the race or it's going to be one of the greatest comeback stories we ever see. So I hope it's the latter. We'll see. But yeah, I'm excited to watch that car. It's specifically that car.
I love it, man. That's a great way to set it up too. This could be one of the greatest comebacks, or it's gonna be a meme. I love it. Oh man, I'm excited for this race. We do uh plan on having some sort of watch parties for this race. I haven't exactly decided how we're gonna do it yet. I've kind of floated the idea of maybe streaming the beginning of the race and maybe just streaming until we feel like we want to be done, and we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and stream the end of it. Maybe we'll stream a middle part of it and then the end of it. I don't really know exactly yet, so make sure you guys turn on the notifications. Make sure you guys subscribe up, get ready to go for this Rolex 24. We're gonna have some type of watch party, whether we do 1, 2, 3. Haven't fully decided yet. We'll decide that over the next day or two, but we're definitely gonna have some sort of watch party for the Rolex 24. At worst case scenario, I'll at least catch the final couple hours of this race, because this is gonna be absolutely awesome. It's a long one, man. I think last year I made it 18 of 20 or 19 of 24 hours. I had to take a little nap in between at one point. I don't know if I'll be able to pull the full 24 on this one. I tried last year really hard, couldn't make it happen. Tried last year with the roll or the Le Mans. I think I made it like in 20 hours of 24 of Le Mans last year. I've just been there's just a point in the middle of the nighttime hours where you just have to take a nap, man. It's hard to pull a 24 hours straight on these races. So uh other than that, man, this race is gonna be fun, man. I love the 24-hour races. The Rolex, we get 2 a year with Rolex and Le Mans, and they're just so much fun. I mean, the layers of this race, uh, unmatched. I mean, there's a reason why these
Yeah.
races are as crowned and jeweled around the world as they are. And it's the greatest drivers in the world attempt to run this race, win this race, whatever it may be. It is a crown jewel of the motorsports year, and really kind of a good kickoff to what is going to be a great 2025 motorsport season. Uh, Especially with the mix of classes. Like I said, watch out for LMP2, watch out for GTD Pro. I think those are going to be your two money stealers this week. They're going to be the showstoppers. There's going to be so much great racing in those two classes. Great drivers throughout all those driver lineups and teams. And we're going to see what happens. I mean, we got preseason BOPs coming in. I haven't really seen a list yet. I'll have to go and do a little bit of research here over the next day or two to see exactly where the BOPs stack up to start the season. But this is the kind of the benchmark. We see BOPs come into play heavy after this race. We saw it last year with BMW and Ferrari. Do we see that again
Yes.
this year with those manufacturers or other manufacturers? This is the benchmark. This is what sets into motion the entire rest of the season with BOPs, especially with the championship battles and seeing where these guys stack up and the development. Like Tom said in the beginning, and I think this is a great quote: championships are won in the offseason. Which teams are going to step to the occasion and develop their car better, have the right driver lineups, the right sponsors, the right engineers, the right strategies going into this race? That's going to be the key to winning it. And survivability. We can't say it enough. Survivability. Those nighttime hours are sketchy, man. You've been up for a long time. You're trying to make it through the nighttime hours. Lots of traffic. Running headlights. I mean, trying to navigate through all the harsh conditions. That's going to be a fun and interesting part of this race as well. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited for Rolex 24, Tom. I can't believe it's already that time of year again. And let's just pray to the racing gods and any racing god out there that we do not at all, under any circumstance, have another Rolex 23 58 36. Alrighty.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, Tom. I think that's about the end of the podcast. Is there anything else you want to mention or talk about, or you want to get right into some outro stuff here tonight? Mention watch
Oh, I
party.
do have one thing.
All right, let's do it.
Michael Cannon, Prima, they split.
Oh, yes. I missed it completely. I should have put that down in the news. That's great news. Wow.
Well,
Not great news,
it's
but
bad news for Prima.
yeah,
I don't know
right,
what
right.
happened. That's the best engineer you could get on the market in IndyCar, and something happened. Something happened. I don't know what happened. Michael Cannon hasn't expressed anywhere else to go. Like, wild.
I can't believe that, dude. I mean, I was super excited for Prima going into
Crazy.
this year. He must see something that we aren't seeing behind the
Yeah.
scenes that he's not liking, or maybe there was an argument or a mistreatment with his contract. There could be a multitude of reasons why this fell apart, but
Yeah.
I think it's gonna put a hamper on the whole Prima thing going into 2025, and we'll see if they can bounce back or what happens with Michael Cannon, where he goes. I mean, you're talking about a guy that basically could walk in any team and have a job like tomorrow. I mean,
Yeah.
he's that
right.
coveted. So we'll see, man. We'll see what this whole Michael Cannon. Hopefully, we get some more news over the next week or so. Next week on the podcast, we're gonna be doing a recap of the Rolex 24, like we do. We're gonna do a little preview for the Busch Light Clash, and then we're gonna do a full 2024 or 2025 IndyCar season preview, just like we've done with IMSA, NASCAR, World Endurance Championship. It's going to be a lot of fun. You guys are not going to want to miss it. We're going to have lots of stuff to talk about because, if you've been around the channel a while, you know how much me and Tom freaking love IndyCar, and everything's looking up, man. I was really skeptical about Fox coming in, man. I'm still a little skeptical, but with everything I've seen so far, I think we might be on the right track here with Fox, man. I think we might be getting there.
I think it'll be okay. That commercial, mint. Absolutely mint.
And the broadcasting booth's great too. I mean, we bring back Hinch, we bring back Townsend Bella, we bring back Will Buxton is going to be the head broadcaster for that team. So I'm excited to see what IndyCar does, and if they can put their own unique spin onto IndyCar and not make it replicate any other type of motorsport they've had on Fox prior. I remember when IMSA had that stint on Fox there, maybe 10 years ago, 10 years ago. When you would watch an IMSA race on Fox, like especially like the Rolex, like those broadcasts were actually good, and that gives me a little bit of optimism about IndyCar with Fox. So we'll see. Time will tell.
We'll see.
All right. Make sure you guys go follow us on all of our social. We got X, we got Facebook, RIP TikTok, and we have Instagram.
No, RIP TikTok. TikTok is back.
Oh, it's back? Okay, I guess I didn't catch
back.
the memo on that one. All right, go follow us on TikTok. We're over there too now. We're back. All right, and then make sure you guys go follow us. We're also streaming on Kick. If you guys want to watch us on Kick, help support us over there. We're streaming on both platforms. That would be a big world of help for us as well. If you guys want to support us even more, go check out our merch store. We got all kinds of cool Dega Boys merch in there. Big Daddy IMSA stuff. That should be hitting off the shelves like crazy right now, considering we're getting back in IMSA and the Rolex specifically, where that whole thing kind of came to light. So make sure you guys go buy some merch. All of those proceeds continue to help us make content for you guys here on YouTube and share our passion for motorsports with you guys here on the wonderful motorsports platform. If you guys want to join our awesome exclusive or our awesome Discord and join the most amazing motorsports community on the entire internet, you can do that. Link is in the description below. You can find all news, rumors, drama, memes, whatever it may be relating to any type of motorsport around the world. It's such a great place. Share and post your own information, your own news, whatever it may be, your own memes, and interact with other like-minded racing fans such as yourself. We keep that updated on a daily basis. If you guys want to join our or be in tap with our amazing racing community, do so with our Discord link below. All right. Well, that'll do it, man. This has been episode 106 of the Full Send Half Mast podcast, Rolex 24 preview, Chili Bowl recap. This has been a great kickoff to the 2025 motorsport season, and I cannot wait for this weekend's race of the Rolex 24 and to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch y'all, like I said, in the next one.